So I'm riding the Mokwheels, the Mokwheel Obsidian. I always want to add an S to it for some reason. So the Mokwheel Obsidian is a class 2 bike, class 3 bike. It's 20 miles per hour throttle only. So right now I'm throttling only. But if you, in level 5, when you pedal, when you pedal in level 5, you can pretty easily hit speeds of 30 plus. So right now I'm on a slight uphill, hitting 31. Slow down for this curve. A little more level ground. So the Obsidian is throttle limited to 20, but you can hit 30 fairly easily. I would say 34, 35 on the downhill isn't unheard of. I've had this bike for a while. And my time with it is about to come to an end. I've had some quality control issues with it, but my major beef is less with the bike and more with the company itself. So when I got the bike, if you look, that is their rear view mirror. And over here, that is an aftermarket rear view mirror. Mokwheels, aftermarket. Mokwheels, aftermarket. Now, it came with two. One of them snapped immediately during installation. It was just so cheap. So that immediately raised some red flags. But they were so bad. They were so bad that I did not even bother contacting Mokwheel for a replacement. I just bought an aftermarket mirror to replace the broken one. The next issue came with the paint, and I'll show this later. The paint has chipped. Down by where the battery is, and I'm assuming that's from rock chips, but it's chipped pretty bad. If I'd have known it was going to chip so easily, maybe I could have put a wrap or something on there, PFT, something. It's not a major issue, it's just kind of irritating. So, but the killer flaw with this bike is actually Mokwheel customer service. When I contacted Mokwheel about the broken mount, they immediately said that, of course we can't replace the mount. You have to replace the whole display. And I'm like, well, why? I mean, that's an idiotic design. We just replace the display. It's easy. And they're extremely mocking and sarcastic in their responses, which, you know, horrible customer service. And stupid design, horrible customer service. So rather than buying a whole new display, bought a cheap piece of plastic and fixed the display mount myself. And now the display mount that I've got is better than Mokwheel's display mount. It's sturdier, it looks better, and it's just overall a better mount. And it cost me $10 to do. So instead of buying a whole new mount for $70, for $10, I was able to make my own mount. Idiotic. And this mount is replaceable. Why on earth Mokwheel thought it was a good idea to make the mount and display a single piece, I have no idea. Either it's just idiotic engineers, or they did it as kind of a selfish money grab. No other bike that I have has the display and mount as a single piece. That's just moronic. Not to mention the fact that their mount is the flimsiest mount I've ever seen. So, between the quality control issues and the customer service issues, I just cannot recommend buying a Mokwheel product. And that's kind of a shame because the bike itself, dual suspension, 1,000 watt, not limited to 28 miles per hour. It's really not a bad bike. Well, shyster. Let's see. How the hell? We're gonna get around here. The bike is comfortable. I think it's for larger people though. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for somebody smaller. Now that I've got the brakes are good. Hopefully this drone doesn't hit me in the head. It can go up small hills. The suspension is fine. Wouldn't necessarily say any of these pseudo you could do this might be good for like mountain trails, dirt roads, but yeah, these aren't mountain bikes by any stretch of the imagination. They're way too heavy. You know, you don't have dropper seat posts or anything. You could put a dropper seat post on it. So some other flaws. The questionable rear light, just kind of cheap. It's one of those inexpensive, cheap. The rear light is one of those really cheap, inexpensive LED lights that you can get for like $15 or $20 from Amazon. It's not tied into the brakes at all, which is fine if you're on a $1,000 bike for a bike that's purported to be, I think I paid $2,300 for this. Yeah, no, not terrific. My $799 Ebike has integrated brake lights, and a lot of other bikes do for a fraction of the cost of this bike. And of course, you know, this bike has some good components too, but you would think that they could somehow design in a decent rear light. Maybe they just felt that the mission of the bike was off-road, but if that's the case, why put all of these, why make all of these available? Why make all of these baskets available? If this is an off-road bike, why have a front basket? Why have a rear basket? Either you're a street bike or you're an off-road bike. Pick a lane. So the bike also has an AC inverter. That's fine. I don't know if that's available at the moment. Mine came free. So mine came free, but it was part of a package. Don't know if it's still available. If you take it camping, off-roading, that kind of thing, I can see it being really useful. Range is okay. It's much better in the warm temperatures than in cold temperatures. But let's do a quick synopsis. So would I recommend a bike? Highest, good torque sensor, not limited to 28 miles per hour, okay suspension, feels comfortable. Lows, horrible customer service, questionable engineering choices, bad quality control, abysmal customer service, too expensive for what you get. Would I recommend it? No. And the other thing I don't think I mentioned is when it gets cold, under about 37 degrees Fahrenheit, you get an error 4 battery code and the power cuts off. So under about 37 degrees Fahrenheit, the battery will cut off and you will get an error 4 code. And it doesn't matter whether you start out from inside. So this is the upgraded mount that I put on. As you can see, it works pretty well. It's sturdier. And this is an example of the paint chipping. Some of it looks like it's from the battery. I don't know, I thought some of them may have been from rock chips. It's hard to tell. The suspension is comfortable. The main issues, poor design, questionable choices. This $9 mount is so much sturdier than the one that came with the bike, and it's just unacceptable for a $2,300 bike, which is perplexing because the suspension is good, the shifter is good, the brakes are good, the rack is good. Why would you make such a central part of the bike such a piece of crap? And then to have customer service be downright sarcastic is unacceptable. The other issue is the code 4 when it's cold weather. When you're riding in cold weather, the bike will shut off and you'll get a battery code 4. which when you restart the bike, it works fine. So that's the only issue, I should say the main issue with that is that it tends to occur when you're accelerating hard from a stop, which tends to happen when you are leaving a stop sign or a stop light or an intersection, which is the worst time to have your bike randomly shut off. So at this point, I will never buy another Mokwheel or test another Mokwheel, mainly because of the quality control and questionable design choices, mostly because of the unacceptable, but mostly because of the unacceptable service from their service team. This is my biggest problem with the Mokwheels is sometimes I get this battery error 4 and I have to restart it and then it's fine.